Hey everybody, Flo here, with the basics of Elder Scrolls Online. This was meant to help any new coming players, or maybe someone who hasn't played in a while. There's a few things that have changed, and maybe this will help you learn those things. I plan on doing a lot of other videos after this, more specific towards different things such as classes and races, and crafting the housing system, and things like that. So stay tuned for even more Elder Scrolls Online stuff. But for now, I hope you enjoy. In character creation, you're going to choose between three factions: the Daggerfall Covenant, Aldmeri Dominion, and the Ebonheart Pact. You can purchase the ability to play any race in any alliance, but usually each faction consists of 3 races, and keep in mind each race has unique racial skills, so keep that in mind along with which faction you want to fight for. So for Daggerfall, the races are Breton, Orc, and Redguard. Aldmeri Dominion, you have High Elves, Wood Elves, and Khajiit. And for the Ebonheart Pact, you have Argonians, Dark Elves, and Nords. And you can also purchase the ability to play as the Imperial race. There's 4 different classes that you can choose from, but be careful because these can't be changed later on. The first one's Dragon Knight, and this is more of a DPS tank sort of class. It has a lot of AoE, good fiery abilities, a lot of good CC. Next you have Sorcerer. This is going to be your long range casting DPS as well as summoning. Next is Nightblade. You're going to have some stealthy stuff in this class and a lot of good DPS, critical hits, big hits, single target stuff, a lot of sneaky rogue type things. And lastly you have Templar. This is going to be another sort of tanky class, and it's also going to have some heals to it and of course good DPS, sort of using the power of light. And I just want to stress that all of these classes can be played in multiple different ways. Like, there's no one way of playing any of these. You can play Dragon Knight that has a lot of casting. It all depends on what weapons you use. And there's a lot of different viable options for each of the classes. So even if you're tied down to one, you're not really tied down to one type of gameplay. I'll be going over the races and classes more thoroughly in another video, so you can watch that if you don't really want to look anywhere else. Once in the game, you have the ability to go first person or third person, and you can also go into the settings under the camera options to move your horizontal and vertical offset for third person, your field of view for first and third person, and the head bob and rotation speed of your first person and third person. I got my first level, so you can see here you can put 1 point into either Magicka, health, or stamina. I'm going to go with health. Hit E to commit your points. It'll take you to your skills tree. You see here that weapons all have their own skills: two-handed, one-handed, and shield, dual wield, bow, destruction staff, and restoration staff. They also all have passives. You can get any weapons you want, of course, and train any of them and switch them out. At level 15 you'll get an extra skill bar which lets you use another weapon, so you can have 2 different weapons at once. As for your class, to level it up you need to have one of the skills from the class tree on your skill bar at the time, and then you'll get experience into those skills. Aedric Spear, Dawn's Wrath, and Restoring Light are the 3 skills for Templars. So it's a good idea to start with one of each of these if you plan on leveling them all up. Weapons will level up just by using the weapons. You don't actually need any of the skills on your quick bar at the time. As you can see, I'm already level 2 two-handed, and I don't have any of the abilities. I've just been wielding one and using it. There's also armor skill trees, mostly passives, but each one has 1 active ability, light, medium, and heavy armor are the types you can use. And then of course there's racial skills. You'll have a few different things and they can level up a few times each. And then lastly there's crafting. You have alchemy, which can make your potions and your poisons. Blacksmithing for your metal weapons and armor, heavy armor. Clothing for your light and medium armors. Enchanting to make glyphs to enchant everything. Provisioning is going to make different foods and drinks, and it is also a way of making decorations, along with every type here that you can see. And lastly, woodworking is going to make all your wooden weapons and your shields. Things like sacks, crates, barrels, baskets, those will have provisioning materials usually in them. But if you find things such as urns or pots or wardrobes, backpacks maybe, and of course chests, those will be the ones you really want to get. They'll have better things in them. Be sure to loot all the lockpicks you can early on if you're just starting out, so you can get a good supply of those. It just helps to pretty much look through all the stuff in this starting tutorial area. Main storylines are a good way to progress in the game for a new player. The Prophet here gives you the first of his quest line right after the tutorial, and that quest line will progress every 5 levels. There's also a quest line for each area that'll take you through each faction, and this is what I would call your second quest line. And if you go here into your achievements, under the quest section, you can view your progress in any of those through here. You can also view your progress by checking your map and seeing if the icon is black or if it's white. Black icon means you haven't finished this area. White icon means it's completed. And the same will go for dungeons and delves as well when you complete those. Sky shards give skill points when you collect 3 of them. They're hidden all over each area, including Cyrodiil. Public dungeons and delves marked with a torch also have a sky shard inside. Harvesting materials is as easy as walking right up to it and interacting with it. You can harvest materials of any level this way, however using materials past that point will require other skills. Lockpicking is pretty simple. There's 3 different steps that it can stop at. You see there's the first one, there's the lowest one, and then there's one in the middle right there. So if you check 3 points, you'll eventually hit it with enough time to finish. Your champion points are shared throughout all your characters on your account. I'll get more into this in a different video, but basically there's 3 different trees for 3 different colors, and you get points in each color separately. So as you see, I have 44 I can use in each of the colors, and they are all completely different. They all have different types of passives, and as you get skill points stacked up in each type, you'll unlock these things you see for 10 points here, for 30 points, for 75, and for 120 points in this tree itself. These things here are way shrines. They can be used to fast travel to any point on the map. As you can see here, I can go anywhere that I've already unlocked these white shrines. Here at the stable, you can buy a horse, 10,000 for the cheapest, and then there's others for around 43,000. After you have one, you can then upgrade your speed, your stamina, or your carry capacity every 20 hours for 250 gold each time. They all go up 60, so 60%, or plus 60 stamina, or plus 60 carry spaces. There are also a lot of mounts for sale in the crown store, as you can see, a lot of different exotic ones, a couple horses, and then a couple more special ones. Inventory can be expanded using gold by going to a bag merchant in any major city. And likewise, your bank can be expanded as easily as going to your bank, having the necessary funds in your bank, and then choosing to buy bank space. your inventory or bank. Anytime you buy space, it'll always give you 10 slots. Also, your warehouse, your bank is account wide, so it makes sharing with your other characters very easy. For gear crafting, you can do various things at the workstation. You can refine raw materials. You can create gear. You can deconstruct gear that you already have. You can improve gear that you have. And you can research traits on every piece of gear. As for enchanting and alchemy tables, as well as places for cooking, they're used to create consumables from raw materials gathered. You don't really have any other steps that you need to go through for those. This is what your tier 1 metal nodes look like. It's iron ore. While you're running through the world, not only are you going to find chests and sky shards, but you'll also see these glowing books like this, and these are going to be lore books. When you discover them, they'll also level up your magic guild level, which you'll see later. Here's a rune stone, and this is going to be how you get different types of runes to make glyphs that'll enchant your armor. There's 3 different types. This here is wormwood, one of many types of alchemy ingredients. There's nothing here but worms right now. Mud crabs and other wildlife are going to be your source of different types of hides and things for medium armor crafting. Wolves, bears, anything really that's wildlife is going to drop these. As you see here, Daedra also have a chance of dropping them. Here's your tier 1 woodworking material, maple wood. You'll always see it down like this. All the nodes sort of look the same. And here's your light armor tier 1 material, it's jute. You can see a few different types of areas on my map now. The skull with the crossed swords is going to be area bosses. The torch here are delves. They're sort of soloable little dungeons that just have a little boss in them. The cave looking entrance is a public dungeon where you can run through with other people. You can group up with them in there or beforehand and run through. It's also soloable. Down here in the southeast you can see Dania Dolmen. That's going to be a dolmen or a dark anchor. They're sort of like rifts in the game Rift, if you ever played that, where waves of mobs will spawn and ultimately you get to a boss that you then kill to clear the dolmen or the dark anchor, and then you get a reward at the end. And those are just a few different types of things you can do in the game other than just the quests, and you can find these things throughout all the areas. They're all over the place, and while you're exploring, getting experience from exploration and killing things in these dungeons and delves and whatnot, that's really all the experience you'll need to level up if you don't want to do any questing. Here you can see we're approaching this icon here, known as the Lady. It's a Mundus stone. This is going to be the first one you encounter in any area. You're going to want to grab it. There's 3 in the first area, but they're basically just going to give you a permanent buff that you can switch out anytime for a different one. Just good to have. This one's going to give physical resistance, and since it's the first one you get, you might as well just grab it. If you're on Daggerfall Covenant, it's just outside of Daggerfall to the northeast. You just kind of have to go around this little cliff here and you'll find it. So as you can hear, there's a dark anchor dropping and or dolmen. This guy's going in, so we're gonna follow him. We have no skills, but hey, who needs them? We got a sword, and we got our stabby stab, and we got a level. Now as you kill these things, these little pinions on the sides. There's 4 of them. They'll fill up. Once they're filled up, you can destroy them, and when you destroy them, everyone in the vicinity will get full health, stamina, and magicka. So it's pretty nice in tough situations. All you really need is a sword and to give them hell attitude, and you can do everything you want. Now that we have all 4 pinions down, one will raise right here. It'll also bring on the boss. Once we destroy the boss, we can destroy that pinion. We've got a Dread Watcher, along with some ads. And sometimes you'll get a named boss and it goes towards an achievement. It's very random, very rare. Decent drops from the boss as well. They're gonna get that last pinion. And there's a chest for us. And that's a dolmen. Here's an overview of all the stuff that they have so far. Over on the west is all your Daggerfall Covenant. Over on the east, on this whole coast, is your Ebonheart Pact. And the stuff to the south, plus this island of Oridon, is all your Aldmeri Dominion. You also have Craglorn here. Hughes Bane right here, it's a little newer. You have Gold Coast. These are all places that everyone will go. It's later game stuff. And then of course Cyrodiil in the middle, that'll be all your PvP. There are houses that I'll cover in a separate video that require this A Friend in Need quest and some gold depending on which one you get. There's a lot of different ones that you can, ranging from maybe 10,000 gold to, you know, a few million gold, maybe more. This Daggerfall Overlook, one of the most expensive, is almost 4 million. A lot of them also require other quests to be completed to get them, but we'll talk about that more in a different video. Attacking an NPC with another player that's not in your group like you see here, it'll yield in both of you getting drops separately anyway, so even if you come in late to a fight or anything like that, you don't need to be in a group with somebody to get credit for a kill. Here we got the boss of this Delve Gate Pain just about to die. You saw it was just a 1 blip, easy to kill, drops a little bit of stuff for you, and as you saw we just completed the Lesson Tower. And we can look on our map and this Delve torch icon is now white, meaning we completed it. The die system in the game is pretty good. You can see here I have a good bit of them unlocked. You get them through achievements, and they're also count wide, so when you unlock them once, you unlock them for everyone. And they have just a great assortment of colors, different types, so common ones are a little more dull than your other ones would be. You know, uncommon ones, they're a little more dyed, you know, they come out a little darker, a little deeper. And of course last you have rare, and these are sort of shiny. So that's about it. And you can dye any piece of armor. You can also dye your shield. You can't dye any weapons, of course. You don't have to dye the way I'm doing it. You can also just change one piece at a time. You can clear. You can copy. And you can set a fill that you already have. You can also hit F to randomize if you're not sure what you want. There's a few different ways to level up your thieving skills. One of them is just picking locks on anything, even if it's not really stealing. Just stealing stuff from anywhere will result in you getting some experience. And lastly, pickpocketing people will also give you experience, but only some people can be pickpocketed. As you can see now, he's not aware. I have a 20% chance of pickpocketing him. If you're caught by anybody doing any of these things, then, as you can see there, I successfully pickpocketed him. But if you're caught, you'll lose all the stuff that was stolen in your bank or in your inventory. You can't put stolen things in your bank. You have to get them cleared from a fence. And I believe that there's only a certain amount that you can do a day. Another thing to mention is you can check inside of things without actually getting, picked up for it. So you can check to see if there's actually stuff that you want to take your time to steal. There's also safe boxes in most banks and other places, other homes, anything really. Once you start stealing from it, you will be caught if you're being detected, so make sure no one's looking at you whenever you start doing this. I believe they're all master, so they're all hard to pick. Make sure you're in a safe location when you start doing it, because it might take a second. And I think that your threat of the threat of being detected rises whenever you start doing it. Something else I want to stress is checking bookshelves. Just in any other Elder Scrolls game, you do the same. Do it in this game too. In anything you see that can be read, you can get a lot of free points this way. Mage's Guild is good for doing this. There's always a crap ton of books, so as soon as you get to the main city, make sure when you visit the Mage's Guild, just read all the books that are in there. To sell your stolen items, you can go to outlaw refuge camps. They're underground usually. Any main city will have two entrances. You see here there's one on the west and one on the east side of Daggerfall in the north. We're kind of in the middle, so we're just gonna head to the one to the east. It's a little closer. But they're marked with this three-prong sort of thing. And the doors are also marked with that icon. And once inside, there's a bank, and then, of course, there's the fence. You'll buy any of your stuff. So that's it, guys. I hope this helps. Please stay tuned for even more Elder Scrolls guides for just various sorts of things, crafting, the classes, races, skills, whatnot, all sorts of stuff. But for now, this is Flo, and I'll see you all later.